People come to us often wanting to hire employees. Often they're hiring for the first time and they want to know how to make the process easier. So today we're answering the question, how do we make the hiring process easier? Hey there, this is attorney Sarah Holmes of Holmes Business Law P.C. We are a business and trademark law firm providing general counsel subscription services to business owners. Really, there's a number of different ways you can make the process easier on yourself and your business. And number one would be prepared. The hiring process can be long, especially now these days where the labor market is very tight. It might take you a long time to find viable employees. It might take a while to get someone hired. People might be snapped up before you can even make them an offer after the interview. So you always want to be prepared before you hire. So the first thing you should do is really develop a comprehensive job description for the person you want to hire. You really want to think through, what is it that I need? What do I want to ask this person to do? What are the conditions around which I'm going to agree to employ them? You want to really have that information locked up as much up front. You also want to keep it a bit broad. For example, if you do hire someone and their job duties expand naturally, you kind of want to give yourself some flexibility in terms of being able to assign them other duties, but still you want to have a decent enough job description so that if someone's applying for a job or you post it on something like Indeed, they're getting enough of an idea of what you're going to be asking them to do. Now, once you do that, you definitely want to find a good place and a reputable place to post your job ads. Sometimes the best employees can come through word of mouth. So for example, if you have a newsletter, if you let your vendors and customers know that you're hiring, maybe they can recommend someone or some candidates for you to interview that might work. If not, you can look at things like Indeed.com, which is an online service where you can post jobs. And what we do recommend is that you put something in that posting that can attract the type of person you want to attract, and also simultaneously weed out the type of people you would not want to attract to work in your business. So for example, if being detail-oriented is something really important in your position that you're going to hire for, you certainly want to mention that in your job ad, but also ask candidates to do something that's very detail-oriented when they apply for the job, so that if they can't even get that part right, that may not be someone you want to interview for a detail-oriented position. For example, what we like to do in our job ads, because our jobs here are very detail-oriented, is we say, write us a cover letter, and in the cover letter, tell us why you're a good candidate, but also tell us your favorite type of pizza. What we find is, number one, most people won't even submit a cover letter, so those are automatically people we normally don't interview. Number two, even the people that do submit a cover letter, very few people will actually address the pizza, meaning they are just giving us a generic cover letter. They didn't really read the job ad, and they're certainly not customizing it for what we asked. And so we say to ourselves, is that a good candidate for a detail-oriented job? Usually the answer to that is no, and so we are able to weed a large amount of people out automatically just by them not following the directions in the ad. So that will definitely save you time in the hiring process. Secondly, have a process for vetting candidates. Like, let's say they do tell you about the pizza, they submit the cover letter, and now finally you're actually going to interview people. You want to have a formal process for this. So whether it's someone in your company or you yourself as the owner want to interview people, we would suggest at least having a member of your staff phone screen people first. Sometimes we do have people that get by with the pizza, we pick up the phone and call them, and we can tell right away they're not going to be a good candidate. They might let some things slip, like, oh, I don't really need this job, I was just applying for it anyway. Certain things that if you knew that, you probably wouldn't interview them for the job. So instead of taking your time and sitting through an hour-long interview with someone, you may at least want to have someone on your staff phone screen people. All right, now let's say they get through the phone screen. What do you do next? Well, now you want to set people up for interviews. The ideal thing would be to have a number of candidates you could do back-to-back on a given day, so that you can just go right through them, get your impressions done, and get this process over with as quickly as possible. Again, if you have a staff member that you can delegate this to, and you as the owner want to come in at the end of the interview, that may be the best time-saving way for you to do that. But whatever it is, make sure you have a process, make sure you have an objective rating system for employees, If someone ever comes back with something like a discrimination complaint as to why you didn't hire them, you want to be able to show an objective set of criteria by which you evaluated the candidates. Like, let's say didn't have enough experience, or didn't have the education we required, or wasn't friendly, didn't really connect to the interview. You want to have objective reasons why you may not have a candidate that's a good fit for you and your business. Now, the next thing you want to do is certainly have all of your employment documents ready. So if your position is going to ask people to sign things like a non-compete agreement, a non-solicitation agreement, which for a lot of people we do recommend, you want to have those documents done before you hire someone. You don't want to have interviews going on. You don't want to extend a job offer and now be scrambling to find an attorney or someone else to draft a proper non-compete, non-solicitation employment handbooks, offer letters. At that point, you're getting kind of late in the game, and it's going to take a while for those documents to be drafted. So be prepared. Have your documents ready. Secondly, you need to have a set of government paperwork ready. So that is things like filling out the tax paperwork and the I-9 for the identity. Again, have that stuff ready to go so that by the time you're ready to hire, you're not scrambling to go pull government documents to send to your payroll company. Finally, another way to make the hiring process easier, you could consider using a PEO, which is a professional employer organization. These do tend to cost more money and maybe aren't super helpful on exactly the initial hiring side, but once you need to start giving out the government documents, you need to have them onboarded, and you need to pay people through payroll. A PEO may make your life easier in that they'll run your payroll for you. They will do compliance in different states. For example, New York State has all kinds of requirements and trainings that you have to give employees. A PEO would handle all that for you, again, at a cost, but you have to think about the time savings and how much time that might save you. Now, of course, if you have questions about hiring employees, or you need some documents generated like non-competes, non-solicitations, handbooks, offer letters, feel free to reach out to our office. Our number is 215-482-0285. Thanks.